Hello everybody and welcome to another tutorial in camera and lens repair. And this time I will try to show you how you can unlock a Hasselblad magazine which has a problem with the film door, which is in this case, well, it's quite a stock. So I need to get into the mechanism. And yeah, we need some tools. At least we need a 2.5 millimeter flathead screwdriver, nothing special. And we probably also will need some pliers and maybe some dentist tool of different shapes. Maybe a little hook like this one could be very useful. Or maybe some of the other tools I have. The tweezer is also very handy, and yeah, maybe I have to think about maybe one of those for sewing, because it has a little hook which is quite good to many things. Maybe the spring inside here is a bit too strong to actually pull it. Maybe the hook in here can break off, but I don't know. But the lock is really, you cannot open it, even if I take the dark slide out. Nothing really happened. So I figure out, because I've been into it before, just to find out, okay, what to do. You cannot do anything in here. But everything has to be, I mean, the plate here, pressure plate, needs to be taken off, and I need to pull it out. So I found out, okay, I can press this down, the pressure plate, because it's a lock. It's a lock plate. You probably get this shiny one in here. It's actually it act as a hook that goes into it. So a little pressure, okay, and then it's free. Then it comes out. So, and then we can take the magazine. The magazine itself, this one, is actually working quite good. But the problem is in here, because you can see I can do nothing. And even if I do this, nothing will happen. So we need to go into here by taking off the 4 screws here, and also those 4 screws here, this one, this one, this one, and this one. And yeah, we'll take a look. Remember how those things are sitting, because I mean, it has to sit correct. This one has to sit here. So when you wind the film, it will be that. Now, off with the 4 screws here. Then we can have a look inside here. So, for that, remember, there are some spacers in here. Not necessary under all 4, but at least 2 of them. So, for that. That's good with a magnetized screwdriver. See, the screws are a bit special. They have a kind of a part of it has no thread, and it's more thick. So and off that. So there. And as I remember, there are 2 spacers were up here. Maybe it's different in your magazine, but have a good pressure on here, just to prevent the eventually spacers from just fooling around inside. So off with all four. You probably can see there are some brass spaces in here, something around here. Oh, and also over here. So gently lift it up. You have a little pressure on here, and it should be possible to turn it over. And here you can see how it looks. So this here is acting as the lock plate, and it engages on one part in here, which is as the moment is not in function. Now let's get off the two spacers here. So they are off. Just remember how it sits, and it could be different in your lens. Now this blade spring kind of also need to come off, and then this spring in here, it is a spring. You can see it comes off the, there's a gap in here. You probably can see it here. There's a gap, and this pin that is here, this one, with their one end with the spring, it needs to come in to actually get engaged with this one here. So when moving it, this plate here will also move over, and of course the other end will do the same when moving this part here. But it's not working at the moment, so I need to take out the spring here. This one here needs to come off, and remember, both ends are not the same, as I will show you. So you need a good flat plier and put it in and kind of bend it and a little away so it's loose. So remember how it sits, because as you can see here, this end has a bigger gap than the other end. So this with the small end has to sit here, and of course the other will go into this gap here and kind of lock it into place. But I need to, get this one engaged with the pin here, but at the moment it's not really possible, because as you probably can see, this end here cannot really move, and since it's hooked up to the other end, let's see, you can see there. To get into that, I need to get the this plate here off with the 4 screws, and of course there is a spring here. It's better to show here. This one here, it's make the 2 pieces of metal here locked into place with the film roll. And yeah, it was a bit tricky to get in, but we'll see. So off with the 4 screws, and remember how those 2 are sitting. Because when taking off the plate here, I need to actually hold the spring in here and have the the spring, I mean hold the plier on the spring here, so the two here to be loose, and in that way it will make it easier to take off the plate and of course put it on again. Now off those 4 screws. So there. And off that. Arrange the screws so you have an idea of where they actually sit. It's the way I work. Because I mean, you can print a sheet of something or draw something so you have the things arranged in a way you can remember it. Now, this one is loose at the moment, so don't pull it off just pull it off. I mean, we have to do it gently. So press this one on here, and then should be possible. Of course we have 2 rollers, so here you can see how it looks inside. And then I can take out the spring here, something like that. And we can of course also take off the rollers. It looks like they are the same in both ends, so just keep in mind if there is any difference in both ends, which way they have to sit. But in this case it was sit like there's not really anything, not much difference. Now, this is the lever I have to pull out. Now you can see how it looks. And this spring here will go on to here, because the other end cannot really come over. So it has to sit like that. Now it's correct. So now you can just put this in again and put it, I mean the gap here has to go into the pin here and also into the hole. So if I do so, I can actually move it, and of course the other end too. And I will not put in the spring yet, because it will make a pressure over that way, and then in that way it will be more hard to put the other end in. And just take a view of this. Those 2 piece of metal, I don't know what the name, it's just called a piece of metal or metal something in the service manual. But you can see there is a kind of a piece of thin steel that hold the 2 here in place. And of course, if you want to take it out, you just pull out this this pin. Yeah, so it is. Now we can just put it in again and put the 2 rollers on here. Well, we can just do it. It's the same. It's doing so, and we also need to put the spring in, as I see it. It could be different. Maybe other have another way of doing it. Now, holding in that way and press the spring here. Then put this one over here and get the rollers to fit. You see, the spring has to go through this. That's why I have the plier on. So it is almost, but the pin here has to also go into a correct position. And the roller sits perfect, and this one also sits perfect, but this one has to come in correct. So, and maybe you will need to press here on and get the spring into place. So, click. Now it goes all the way through the gap here. So now I can put on the screws here. Sometimes it can be a little difficult. Yeah. And it will be have to make some adjustment to it. So, and then it's in. We take one across. Sometimes it's more easy to when doing in that way. Catch the thread there. And now we almost safe home. So now we can see here it moves as it should. And I can just put in all the 2 more screws and say that's all fine. So there, and this one comes on. There. So now it's actually almost there. So now we can put the spring on here. Remember, the big gap here goes onto the long pin here first. So we put it in, and the spring is quite strong, so you have to have a good grip. And then with your plier, put it into place there. So now it works as it should. You see. So the next thing is, you see the hook here. This kind of a hook has to engage with this pin, and we maybe have to make some adjustment because there might have been a pressure on this. Maybe it's bent too much because of the damage. We don't know, but let's have a see before I put the 4 screws on. Just put in the spring here, and then have this the hook be as it was open, like this. I mean, it's more closed. Now it's open, as you see, because this hook here will pull this lock plate down, and when it's up, of course it will go up and into lock position. So now we have to have it in a lock position before we put it on, and have the pin in here. As you can see, it has to go under it there, and just put it on and see if it can go into open position. See, it goes down when I turn it, and just before putting it in, I'll just bend this a little, because it's as I found out, this pin was a little too far out from the gap here, so it was not so safe in place. So now sorry, I can put on the two spacers here. There. So that way here. Sorry, it's winter, but no corona. So now this goes on here into the, as you could see, goes on here, as I showed you before. So there, and gently lower it so the two spacers will not fool around. So have a good pressure on it here. Put in screws there. Yeah, it will go into place, and not loosen it yet, because the other side also have to be screwed in, and then the spacer will also be in a safe position. So there and there. And oh, sometimes it can be a little tricky to have a magnetized screwdriver, so yeah. There, and then the last screw come in. There. So now we can actually see how it works. It will pull it down when I turn the key here, and then it's in lock position, and then it's see at this end it will pull it down and go into unlock position. So now it should be very easy to put it in. There, fits, and as you can see, it goes into lock position, and then it's as it should. So there. Wow, this is great. So that's how it, if there is anything wrong with that lock mechanism, so it is how you fix it. That's it from me. Hope you enjoy the content and can use it. That's all. Bye bye.